Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel, and hopefully the final video on the little 2015 Range Rover Evoque. Once again, thank you everybody for the love and support throughout this, let's call it a build, but even though it was the engine, there is a few other little jobs to do. The comment section went absolutely wild in every video. It's been really popular, and of course everybody was very kind, very complimentary to Josh, and of course he did deserve that. It's unbelievable the amount of work he had to do there, and to actually film it for us as well. Normally I suppose he probably does these hard at it all day, a whole day on it, and it actually spent over 2 days on it doing it for us because he was recording it. So the first thing is the windscreen is leaking. Very common fault on the 2015 only. And apparently, I mean, I've spoken to Liam, and it's to do with the primer that they put on the actual car before they fit the windscreen. And they all actually leak. It was a bit of a recall, I believe. There is a couple of chips in this windscreen. So it is, I mean, there's always a chance it'll break when you're cutting it out anyway. But what we decided to actually do is, because it's got chips in it, and one of them is non-repairable, we're actually just going to have a new screen put in it. So he said he'll be here at some point today. It's a pretty horrible day out there, so we need to get this inside, get it dried. He said he'll be here at some point today, so we'll just wait for him to come, do the windscreen, and then we'll pick up from there. But like I say, all of this stuff we left off, we need to get back on there as well. So enjoy the video, let's get on with it. That is it, guys, windscreen done. We've put it back outside because we can't block the ramp up. Even though you'll be watching this all in one sitting, we've got to take them wheels off and get them refurbished. And of course, that's going to take 48 hours. Got the axle stands out here, got the jack. Who's braving it, mate?
Well, I've got the coat on.
Chris has got the waterproof coat on. I'm wearing a body warmer. Just shout me if you need me, mate. No, I'm only joking. I'm going to get out there and help him. Loaded in the back of the van, but I did want to obviously show you, because we've not shown it close up, the god-awful state of them before I drop them off. So you can see there's various little chins in them and scrapes around the edges, but these have actually been rattle canned, these wheels, from silver, and there is runs all over them. So they look nice from a distance, but they are awful. So let's get those over to JW Smarts and get those done. 24-hour turnaround over at Smarts. I rang on first thing this morning. I said, when will them wheels be ready? He said, you can come and get them now, Rob. Guys, check them out. Look at them. Actually, we did have a choice. Either get them refurbed in black, or again, have them done in the original silver. And Chris said, Rob, because that's a black car, black, it's got all black trims, everything's black about it. They was meant to be silver. They will really stand out and look nice. And I think you would agree, they have come out perfect. They've even managed to flat those centre caps off and re-lacquer those. And again, they look like brand new. So absolutely over the moon with them. We're going to get them fitted back on. Chris was going to crack on with all the little bits and pieces under the bonnet that needed putting back on. But he did say, I don't really want to start risking it, getting in the car, opening the bonnet while it's up on those axle stands. So the plan is to actually get the wheels back on it and then get it off those axle stands. Guys, I know I've mentioned it a couple of times before, and we even had a dedicated video about JW Smart. They've actually moved from Sheerness. They're no longer there. They've opened a new state-of-the-art place over at Maidstone. So It is just JW Smart Services, Maidstone. If I don't put the link in there, look them up, tell them you come from us guys, and I think they speak for themselves. Right, let's get them fitted. Oh, good choice there, Chris, good choice. They look so much better in silver.
Yeah, I prefer silver alleys.
I was aiming towards black, but I think you would agree that was definitely the correct thing to do. So we do need to do those little bits under the bonnet, and like I said, these little marks all around it. Now that will come off. We're not going to be doing any paintwork to this. You'll also see Chris has actually got a visit this morning, one of his friends. You would have seen him floating around in the background, so they're having a bit of a catch up and a meeting. And down here as well, again, all of that should come off. So let's get them talked up, get this one back together. I need to take this for a run, Chris, but I do think, I said when I drove it home, the tracking and balancing was a bit all over the place.
You've got a couple of bits left.
Yeah, not a lot though. It's only where we had the bonnet off, so right. We get that done. Up and down there, and that did look a little bit like false economy, the fact that we bought it in and actually had to lift it back up and take the wheel off again. But of course we couldn't fit the wheel arch liner out there and the under tray, so we brought it back in, got it up on the ramp. That is now all completely fitted. Everything under the bonnet is all back together, the strut brace, engine cover, airbox. I said to Chris it sounded a bit funny when I started it up outside, but of course that was wide open, that airbox. So Chris is just going around it now with a bit of thinners and a cloth, removing like the scuff marks. Oh, it's gone.
Well,
there's a little bit there.
That's going to need a bit of polishing, I think, Rob.
Yeah.
I think that needs a mop on it.
But also, I mean, we haven't had this one sitting around too long, but Chris just said, is this one due an MOT or anything like that? And it was unbelievable. I just checked it and it runs out in a couple of days. So going to get these little bits cleaned up and polished first, but I've booked it in for an MOT and we're going to head over there for it. Of course it's going to be for sale, so it wants a new MOT on it, doesn't it? And then tracking and balancing. Those wheels were quite curbed up, so it is always best practice to get, oh actually where they've been refurbed they would have already been balanced, but I'm going to have the tracking checked on it anyway. So let's get the rest of these marks off and head over to the MOT. I'm standing outside the MOT, guys, because I'm not allowed in. But the chap just said to me, I said it's a little bit, sort of when you change lane, this car, it don't feel lovely. And he said, well, I'll tell you what that is straight away. Both of your front tyres are an advisory. They're wearing on the edges. And the driver's side one actually looks, it just don't look nice. So we are going to have to roll with a couple of new tyres on this one. The back ones are fine. But those front ones, they look quite odd, and they're all weather tyres anyway. So after he's done the MOT, fingers crossed it passes, we'll go to A2. We'll have 2 tyres put on it, have it all tracked up, and then I'm sure that car's going to be lovely, because apart from that, the way it drives, everything about it is very nice. But I had a funny suspicion that it was those tyres. Anyway, let's see how we got on with the MOT. Smoke test. All good. Lovely jubbly. That does always make you happy when it is a pass. And he actually said it is quite a nice car, looks all good underneath. So tyre worn close to the legal limit, worn on the edge near side front. Tyre worn close to the legal limit, worn on the edge offside front. And you can probably gather, I can't actually get out now because I've stayed in the car and we've got a jack up against the door, but I'm at A2 tyres, we're going to have two nice fresh new tyres put on the front of it. Of course they'll be rebalanced, and then we're going to go round and have the tracking double checked. But I'm so glad this is, I mean, it hasn't been too long on the channel, but it's really nice to get it turned around. It's going to be another one done, so let's get the tyres done and head back to the yard. So that's the rear.
So that's the rear, yeah, all in tolerance, all in spec, all good.
I thought this was a curb bouncer, I'll be honest, judging by the state of the wheels.
Well, looking at the front, -8 minutes there, -9, so just flicking between two. And then +13 on the driver, so yeah, it's hit a fair few curbs.
It's been up and down a few curbs outside the old school, has it?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Two nice new tyres on there, and they're actually, they match the back ones. They're middle range, aren't they? So they were still quite expensive, I think. We're not going to interfere. Normally we'd sit there and record Rich messing around with it, but today I'm just going to let him crack on, get it done, and then we'll drive it back. But I've got to honestly do think it's going to drive 10 times better than what it did. Now it's got those new tyres on it anyway. I'm sure it's going to be faultless. It's for all you guys that understand Rich's language, because I don't. But it all looks green to me, so...
We're all back in the green, all back in tolerance. We've gone +5, +5. So it gives that little bit. So when we get in the car, they should go back to +4.
This is going to drive like a Rolls Royce now, is it? Absolutely. It's a Range Rover though. Let's see how we get on. Just before me and Chris start nattering about this, I've got to learn to get up a little bit earlier and get here in the morning. We're racing against time here.
A bit up against it today.
It is not even 4 o'clock and it's dusk. And I know you're trying to get this watertight, aren't you, because of the weather. Had a little hole in there. So guys, I think you would all absolutely agree. It looks, when I just pulled up, Chris said, that looks lovely. It really, really has turned out to be a nice car. And do you know what? It was that front tyre. It drives lovely now. Yeah. It's got two nice new tyres on it. The tracking was out slightly on both front wheels, but they're all done. Have a look at it inside. I mean, I've just had a quick valet done on it. It just looks lovely in there. Nice air freshener. And you know what I was saying about, I think someone's been smoking in here. Look what they found under the seat. Bit of a telltale, mate.
Yeah.
2 lighters.
Yeah.
So I've got air freshener in there, and they've sprayed all the carpets with some stuff. They said it will get rid of that smell. But look,
ready to go.
This car's not mint. It has got a couple of little marks around it, and I'll be the first one to admit, black is the hardest car. I mean, it shows every single mark.
It does, yeah.
But look at it.
Yeah. Nice.
I know I'm saying it like it's a transformation, and we've had the engine done, but this looks like a different car now.
Yeah,
Those wheels,
set it off a lot better.
Chris, honestly, I said black, didn't I? And you went, no, honestly, go for silver. They're the right colour for it. Yeah. And black on black, so black leather, black car, black wheels.
Too much.
It was too much. Claire's car was white with black wheels and grey with black, and it really suited it. But I've noticed now it is washed, it has got another couple of little tiny marks around it. So it's got one there, and just there on the bonnet, you see. But
we're not going to be greedy with it.
No, we're not going to be greedy. But I have just been looking up how much they are, and the cheapest one on there's 13.5 grand, right up to 18. So I'm not going to get any closer, Chris, because of that radio's on.
No.
But yeah, this video, even though it's going to be a nice short one, actually, it's going to be a bit too short. But this has actually taken all day. And
shall we crunch the numbers?
Let's crunch the numbers, mate, and then we'll let the video burn for a couple of days, and then this can go straight on Instagram. I am really, really happy with the way it drives. Let's do it. This is always an epic moment for us because it's another one done. It's another one ready to go, and I'm smiling because there's a bit more profit here than I actually ever expected, and you too, Chris, right?
Oh, definitely.
Definitely a bit more profit, because when we bought that car, I know everybody wants to get straight into the numbers, but you've got to explain some things just so it's realistic. So when we got offered that car, I run it by Chris, and always when we get told the engine is a non-runner, both of us automatically think worst way, replacement engine.
Yeah.
It's worst way, because then we know where we're at, and then we do a bit of research on how much is an engine, how much is it going to cost us, and ultimately, is it going to be worth it? Because we're not going to work for free, and we're certainly not going to record for content. We've said that from day dot, and I do just want to reiterate that. Me and Chris, this is our full-time job. There's no film crew here. None of it's made up. This is what we do day in, day out. And we video it and we stick it out on YouTube. We definitely don't proclaim to be professional. Is it videographers?
No,
is that the right word for it? We know that we make mistakes with the videos, and we know that they're not the most polished, best things. But guys, I beg you to go back to the early days when I was doing this from an iPhone 6, and I think you would agree, it's come a long way. Sometimes Chris watches them and he's laughing. I say, what are you laughing at? He goes, just watching one of your videos from the early days, because I watch them back now and I cringe. They was awful, wasn't they? But they wasn't. You guys got on board. You loved them from day dot. You loved the rawness of it. And we're going to continue the way we're going, but try and improve slowly but surely.
We don't consider ourselves YouTubers.
Absolutely not. No. We're
people.
car guys doing YouTube.
Yeah,
we're not YouTubers doing cars. So hopefully that does make sense. Let's get down to the nitty gritty. We give £5,000 for that car because we said £3,000 for an engine, all the work putting it in, other bits it might need that we're going to get to in a minute. We're hoping to make a couple of grand out of it. Well, as it turned out, we managed to get that engine running, which was, I mean, even Josh was shocked, wasn't he? He was like, after he see that timing chain, he's like, I don't even know how you two got that running and it didn't self-destruct. We was lucky. I mean, we didn't rev it up. And you said to me that day, turn it off.
Yeah,
and I said,
just
to prove it run. But I said, start it up again, didn't I? And you went, no, I'm not starting it again. So we got really, really lucky with that, even though I drove it over there. It's crazy to think that. So we give £5,000 for it. Delivery cost was £150. Chris, I like the way you've written first time here, oil and filter.
It was, wasn't it?
I went round and got an oil and filter, and it was 55 quid. And we might
air filter as well.
Air filter as well. And we might as well have chucked it in there and used it to light the fire, because Josh actually
of course,
put another oil and filter in it, and he used genuine Land Rover. So anyway, that was £55. The DPF cleaner that we put in it was £28. Josh, now, I'm not going to lie, I'm not going to insult anyone's intelligence. He did us a better deal than this, because number one, we're trade, he helped us out, and number two, he got a lot of business from the video. So, and he is an expert in his field at doing them. He does them day in, day out. So we've put here the original price of what Josh would charge to do that, and that's £1,400. And I think we both turned around and said, Chris, we'd do it if we had to, but you wouldn't want to do it for that money, would you?
That's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. The parts are expensive. Where they do so many of them, they do them a bit quicker than anybody else. Wheel refurb, £250, and makes that car. It truly does make it. Tracking I've just had done, £30. Tyres, now we went for run of the mill, and budgets I think was about 70 quid each, but you want something half sensible on that car, and that was £190 for two. MOT was £40. The windscreen, £390. The valet I just had done was £25. I have just sat there and edited this video. While you're watching them wash the car in the car wash, I'm actually editing the video, so getting the video done today. Yeah, that was £25. We got a total here of £7,558. And after I edited the video, I went straight on eBay and looked through what was available, how much it was, 2 litre front wheel drive manual car. And the cheapest one on there is £13,995, and the dearest one was £18,000. The one that was £13,995 had a very similar mileage to ours. So yeah, 7,558. There are things that go wrong with those cars. I'm going to get to them back to the numbers. They got 3 major faults with them vehicles on 2015. Windscreen, timing chain and DPF. All 3 of them on that car are done and sorted. The DPF's all cleaned out, and you see on Josh's camera, it looks lovely. It's got a brand new timing chain kit on it. What a peace of mind there. And of course, Liam come out and done the windscreen. We are gonna ask trade money for that. So the trade money on that car is 11,500, and we're going to ask trade money for it. It's not a recorded car. It's all HPI clear. It's done 71,000. I think you'd have to MOT history check it. I've just got that done. It's got loads of history with it. It's got both keys, and like I said, it is a well sorted, clean, tidy car with a couple of minor imperfections on it, and that's going to give us a pre-tax profit of £3,942, and I think all of you would agree that's not a bad few days work for me and Chris. And the first video on it where we stripped it down and we found the problem, I love those videos. I love getting involved and doing it, and I know Chris does as well, because we're like, right, what's caused it, what's the problem, let's see if we can fix it, and that is our favourite. So what do you think in the comment section down below? I know some of you are going to say, well, if that's trade money, why don't you sell it for retail? Me and Chris are not greedy, and that is plenty of profit, and that is, as we always say, leave enough in it for the next man, and the next man will come back and buy another one off you. So that is going to be the end of today's video. As usual, we do hope that you did enjoy it, and that is the end of the series. If you want to possibly buy that car in the next couple of days, that is going to pop up on Instagram, and as soon as it does pop up, that's when you message us with your contact number, and that's Salvage Rebuilds Instagram. If you want to follow Chris when he's out on his adventures, blowing up pumpkins and smashing up his new phone I'll give him, you can follow him on Instagram at Salvage Rebuilds Chris. Is that right?
That's right, mate, yeah.
Like, subscribe and share, and we'll look forward to seeing you all very, very soon in the next one.